Does a high body count matter?
Because they don't want the body count to go up.
And not even just the body count, also like the love count. Like I don't want to keep falling in love with people. I think a love count is more important than the body count. Like
True.
I want to know how many people you've been in love with. You fuck 20 dudes. It's even worse if you've loved 20 dudes. You love 20 niggas? That is so crazy to me.
What is your heart count? How stretched all out is that heart?
You're a fucking slut. You're a slut.
So the basic issue that he's bringing up here, right, is that people talk about body count and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't know. I know a lot of men around me. No one's ever really expressed, maybe once or twice I've heard men care a little bit about body count, but not really, not a whole lot. But I think he may have a point with this whole love count thing. I can understand that might be a red flag if you're with a girl, she's 27 years old and she's been in love 30 times. It may not be a red flag, but it's at least something that I think that maybe
a yellow flag.
It's something that's worthy of conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that video clip is still kind of fucking with me a little bit, like, because like my instinct is to go, yo, they're spitting a little bit. Wait a minute, they let them cook. Wait a second, they might be onto something, but I don't know. I don't know how to describe this, like, feeling, this unease I feel, because yes, I agree, body count was always some gender war bullshit, something incels made up that never really mattered, that no one ever really cared about. It's something you say when you don't understand biology. That's fine, but the heart count thing feels like an okay rule of thumb, but I haven't had time to reason it out and game it out to see if I feel like it applies broadly enough. Because yes, if way back in the day, even back when I was dating regularly in the olden days,
the long old days of the early 2020s,
a long time ago, right? Ancient history. There definitely were people that I met or people that I talked to or whatever who described getting in and out of whirlwind relationships and things like that. And seeing how quickly they got in or out of those relationships did give me pause as to whether I personally would think about them as a long-term romantic partner, hypothetically. This is purely hypothetical. Because this is the me problem of, like, I do agree that, like, valuing someone for a long-term relationship, if that's what you want, is one thing, and it's not going to be compatible with someone who's, like, had a lot of heart, like you said, a heart count, who falls in love a lot easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get what they're going for, but I feel like I feel like this is a take that I'm gonna have to come back on. So, like, I'm not dying on this hill, but, like, I kind of get where they're coming from. Is it better to love easily, or is it better to, like, not make someone earn it, but to earn it for yourself, whatever that means for you to say that you love someone?
Yeah, so I think part of it comes down to a fear that if a person falls in love very easily, they may be emotionally unstable, and because of that, there might be some potential danger in being with them long term, right? And I get that, I really do. There's also the ritual of love, right? So if you really, like, if you love somebody, right? Like, that's not a word that I throw around very easily. I think some Americans do, but I feel like, you know, if you really are in love with a motherfucker, you really roll with them, right? Like, you really, like, you go hard, right? That means you might be spending a lot of money for them. You might have, you know, put a lot of risk, you know, into that person. You might have done a lot of things for that person, you know, that, like, that kind of made you both vulnerable and at risk, right? And if you are willing to do that easily, or if you have done that a lot of times, right? If I'm the next person in line, that worries me, right? Like, how much money have you spent on these girls? Like, how much, like, how much, like, I mean, how many times have you gone to therapy with these people? Have you put anything in a pawn shop to get them? Like, have you got somebody out of jail? Do you have any, like, terrible secrets? Like did they kill a motherfucker and you're taking that to your grave, kind of thing? Like, how many
Are you gonna
people
pop up with a whole secret family? You know what I mean?
Right. Like, if you're really ride or die for a motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think being in love is. Now, some people, you know, for them, being in love is just like, we like to watch the same episodes of SpongeBob. And in which case, you know, I don't really, whatever, right? So I think that's why it bears having a conversation, right? Like maybe if we're not working with the same definitions of love, it doesn't really matter. Oh, I just fell in love so instantly. I met him at the candy shop when we were at the mall. Oh, they don't have those anymore, do they?
They
We
do
met.
actually. They do. Nah, they got
Oh,
candy shops at the mall. I just went by one the other day, and I was really mad because they didn't have the candy that I wanted. So, nah, that's
oh,
real. Dog,
oh,
it's still, we out here. We out here eating candy as adults.
like he slid into my DMs and then we went and got cotton candy and like we're just so in love, that is a thin level of love that I don't know if it really matters that much. But then it has to, later on we have like that conversation, like when you say that you love me, what does that mean? Is that like, same episode of SpongeBob, or is it like if I kill a motherfucker, you won't tell anybody? Kind of love, like it's kind of like, all right, I don't want to get clip Jim for that. I won't actually murder. I'm just saying, I'm just playing that
Yeah,
out.
we do
Pulling that
not.
out of
We
the
do
table.
not condone the. Do we wait? How do we say this in YouTube? We do in YouTube-ish. We do not condone the unaliving of sentient beings or whatever.
At no point do we condone any breaking of any law
Yeah,
or the breaking of
we are
anyone's
100%
consent.
compliant. That is our official stance. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. That's
yeah,
it.
I mean, that said, like, I think you have a big point here. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna say it again. Capitalism is the real villain here. Like,
Yeah.
being in love with someone carries with it just the financial risk of whether like your love for that person, the relationship you build with someone you love, puts someone in a vulnerable state financially.
Mm-mm.
Just that risk alone means that, like, are you wealthy enough that you can afford to fall in love easily because your bills are always going to be paid? Or are you living such a bohemian life that you never have a lot of money, so you never have anything at risk if you fall in love, right? Because, like, falling in love with someone and then, like, they pop up and say, "Oh, I need money for a surgery or whatever." One of those, Facebook scenarios where it's like, "Oh,
Mm.
you met the love of your life, but turn out and you hit the lottery, you got $100,000. It turns out the love of your life needs $98,000 for surgery, but y'all not married though." Like, you know what I mean? Like, just the financial situations that can arise from saying you're deeply connected to someone does
Absolutely.
bear considering, right?
But I mean, also to be fair, we're at a point in life where those kind of things really matter, right? Like, are we getting a mortgage together? Like those kinds of considerations are something that like people our age think about. Like, how financially locked with this person am I getting? Do I just love to spend time around them, or do I trust them? Do I trust them to like not get me into a bunch of debt? Do I trust them to like, it's these are like deep questions, or like, what is their health like what are we gonna how are things gonna be in 20, 30 years? Like, will we be able, like, these kinds of like very practical questions are kind of wrapped up in the idea of romantic love, I think, for people at the stage of life that we're at. And whereas for like if you're like 19, maybe you're not thinking about it that hard, right? When you're thinking about somebody's like, love count, maybe you're thinking a little bit shallowly, or like, has she fallen in love with any of my homies, right? Like if I bring her to this party, is she gonna be pining for like, you know, like my nigga that I
The
roll
ghost
with
of
the
Dickmas
hardest?
past. The ghost of Dickmas past. Um,
No, no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah.
no. My God, be like,
That's real though. Like, yeah, but that's what I said. I want it to flash under the last like 2 to 3 minutes or whatever. Whenever we got on this, like,
yeah,
under capitalism. Like, this is true under, because all these concerns go away if we had communal living. You wouldn't have to worry about a mortgage, or you wouldn't have to worry about one party being homeless because one person got the domicile in the separation, whether it's a
mm,
divorce or a breakup, right? If we had non-capitalist modes for securing your safety, then you'd be a lot more easy to pursue. I guess something that is more purely emotional romance, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, right?
I mean,
So
yeah, yeah, I did, absolutely, absolutely. But also, I mean, like, even if you get rid of all of those capitalistic issues, there is potentially some other things to worry about. Not worry about, but that might become relevant. For instance, like if you were to marry a widow, excuse me, if you were to marry a widow, right? Like, is is she marrying me because she's lonely? Will she always just love her first husband, that kind of thing? Or like, like how much?
the kids.
Yeah, the kids, all this kind of good stuff. Do I have to shadow box with a dead dude? These kinds of questions. And I,
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that those kind of concerns, which will just be there no matter what kind of economic system we live under. But like at the same time, you make it work.
I mean, yeah. Short answer, yeah. Um, I was just having this conversation not too long ago about like whether if you're out here dating, would you want to date someone who already has a child? Like, regardless of like whatever your orientations are or whatever, it's difficult to date someone who's got kids and is single because even if regardless of the relationship you have with the adult, you coming in and out of the lives of that child has an impact on them that you'll never be
Yeah,
able to take back or control, and that's a huge concern. It's not it doesn't it doesn't mean it's fair, it's not right, there's no moral judgment here, but it is a thing you have to take on as a risk of saying, am I in and out of this adult's life because we're just having a fling, or am I committing to raising this kid and being with
yeah,
this person, or any of those things? Like, because you can't take back a child's childhood. So
that's
like,
right.
if you're involved in that other person and their child's life, like that might be a new core memory unlock. You don't know.
That's
So
true.
that's a
That's
deep
true.
concern.
I think it's slightly easier. I mean, I could be completely wrong here. I don't actually have any experience, but I think it might be slightly easier for a woman, um, um,
They're socialized
because
as providers, so
yeah, like we're not like it's like so. For example, like my mom died, and my dad did date after my mom died, right? And so like women that he brought into our lives, they didn't have to like be our mom, right? They didn't have to like really do anything. They didn't have to like talk
they
to
didn't have to
us.
be breadwinners. They didn't have to
Yeah,
like
they
show
don't have
that
to
they
do
were
anything,
paying
right?
bills. Yeah, yeah,
Just
that's true.
just
That's
don't
true.
just don't annoy
Yeah,
us. And like they
don't burn the
couldn't
house
really
down or
even
steal
do
my
that.
shit.
Like I'm gonna be honest with you, like he was dating hood rats, right? Like just like
Mm.
the worst shit. Like it was bad, bad. I have some that's gonna be an episode another day. Like I gotta get my brothers here. They have some amazing stories. Because I mostly wasn't around for that, but
Hey,
they
let's
were,
go.
and
I'm looking forward to that.
it was some dumb shit. But basically, like I think it would have been very different if my dad had died and my mom was still around. If she had brought men there, well, I think it would have been a much different
Yeah,
situation. I think it would have been a
yeah.
very very different situation. So
It's the
like
capitalism of are these men providing for y'all, and it's the patriarchy of what do these men see themselves as figures in the home. Also, I mean, low key, high key, this has been an ongoing problem we don't talk about enough. But like, um, men in a house with children raises a lot of people's alarms about, like, I don't know if we're allowed to say there's not molestations or things of that nature.
does it though? Do people really get concerned
I
about that?
I don't know. I don't want to speak too broadly on that, but I'm saying there is a higher social perception of men as potentially being that kind of threat
Oh, you
than
mean
women,
like
even though,
stepfathers?
yes.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
but here's the
yeah,
thing, even though the same thing is true of stepmothers, stepmothers can also come into a child's life and like prey on them in that way, you know? So
yeah, yeah.
it's not, but it is, there's a perception, and there's like, I don't know what the data is to back that up, but like it's a different kind of dynamic, you know?
Yeah, that is true. I have a relative. I have a huge family, so it might even be multiple relatives. But I have at least one relative who went through that exact thing. Like a lot of just very messed up sexual exploitation from her stepfather, and that has made a lot of people in my family very wary of stepfathers. I think that's a little bit unfair. I don't think that most stepfathers are like that.
Yeah,
But
that's the
I
thing.
mean,
It's social perception, right? Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. It's social perception. And it's the thing that men are more visibly, like, I'm sorry, more scrutinized for, whereas
yeah.
women fly under the radar on that specific thing way easier. Again, it doesn't really matter what the data is saying. We're talking about social perception.
About yeah, exactly, exactly, and
Yes.
and, and that
So,
and that matters, right? Because
yeah,
those things are gonna impact how you are able to relate to that person. Now,
yeah.
um, I mean, we're out here trying to be the number one dating and VTuber
Dating and,
podcast,
and sex life podcast, because we out here,
right? Like
we,
out
we we out
here
here, we fucking too. We smashing it up out here. We're just
in
constantly just wading through a sea of wet
mm,
nether bits. Mm.
absolutely. Most of them are two dimensional, but I but but like when I like we are kind of approaching this from a perspective of like logic, right? Of like like this is the specimen. Here's our magnifying glass, and we're trying to reason this out without a whole lot of direct experience. So of course, I'm open to having things that I haven't thought of or things that I haven't personally experienced that are brought to my attention. Absolutely. Like I would love to have my perspective changed, but I think that like I think kind of in summation, I think that the heart count, the love count, is at the very least a more legitimate thing to have a conversation about or to be a part of consideration when you're thinking about having a partner and like how you want to proceed with that partner than a body count could ever be.
Yeah, because like the other thing, what if you find out someone's heart count involves a string of partners with several things in common, and now you're next up on the block? Does that mean you have that in common? Are you giving off the same energy as like several crazy partners this person's been with?
Yeah.
Or are you now in the position to where you're not like them, so now you have to perform uh to this expectation to be the one who's different? Are you like are
Mm.
you supposed to be Anakin Skywalker now and say or something to save these hoes, bring balance to the force or whatever, like, or like, 'cause like what does that say about you? Like, yeah, this person has fallen in love with several of the same type of person. Now you're up next. What does that say? How do you approach that? Or like if you're introspecting on yourself, because we talk about the body count being an external thing to an external partner, but like internalize that, the body count that you have, the body count, the heart count that you have, what does it say about you? What kind of partners have you been drawn to, and how often, etc. The wherever you go, there you are. So you know what I'm saying?
Wherever you go, there you are, my nigga.
It might be you. I'm just saying,
It
you
could
know,
be you. It could
there's
be
a lot of ways to look
you.
at that. But I think at the very least, I like the heart count conversation way more than I have liked 99% of the battle of the sexes, gender wars,
Right.
men are trash, these hoes ain't, these women deserve less shit. That was like, that was the most recent thing that made me go, I'd
I,
like to think about that more.
I have a question that maybe you cannot answer because you've been outside of America for as long as I have. This is going to be, this might be a bit of a
Yeah.
challenge. We're going to have to do our best with this one. But like, no, we have Cheesecake Factory here in Japan, right?
No, I don't think so. I'm
We,
pretty sure
we
there
don't
isn't,
we don't have it.
because I would have gone. I would have gone just for the experience if they had
I
that.
I think
Nah, they
there's
don't
one
got
on the
that. They don't
base
got that,
though,
dog.
right?
No,
No.
dog. Bases have like Burger King and Popeyes. Them shits is
Oh,
no, nah. They don't have nah.
so
They tend not to
okay.
have.
I've never been to Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if it was a thing because I'm from, where I'm from in the States, we didn't really have a whole lot of chains at the time. Like chains kind of got there a lot. Like we got Starbucks. Starbucks was like one of the last things that arrived before I left the States. Like that's how late, like we were getting chains. So like I've never actually been to a Cheesecake Factory. What level, like what's a like a local equivalent? Have you ever been to Cheesecake Factory? Do you know anything about this?
Yo, yeah, I was gonna back up and say, actually, hi, I'm on the other side of this.
Uh,
Growing up, Cheesecake Factory was definitely a part of our uh options for dining, because I grew up in an opposite place where it was mostly chains. There is
mm,
local cuisine where I'm from. We're not totally a desert. However, there's a lot of places where you are much more likely to encounter a chain of some sort than you are to encounter some sort of local thing. So
mm-hmm.
all that is to say, when they started building cheesecake factories in my area growing up, because I think there's more than one, but I definitely remember when they started being an option. We went there and we're like, oh, this is nice. This is kind of fancy. This is an interesting dining experience as opposed to like uh Applebee's or whatever. You know what I mean? So, so I'm just gonna say from that perspective, again, this is only talking about the range of chain
Mm.
restaurants. So I don't care how good your local spot is. I agree with you. The local spot's better in terms of chain dining establishments. Cheesecake Factory is all right. It's pretty good.
But like,
Like
what's
your
the
mileage may
like?
vary, but like
What's the like the equivalent? Is it like yakiniku? Is it like how should I understand
ooh,
Cheesecake Factory?
Cheesecake Factory is like going to a, I want to say like a Kaizen restaurant where like you get good stuff.
Oh,
It's not quite chef's choice, but like you can get courses. I would say it's a little bit, it's like a really, it's either a really, really nice izakaya or like
I
low end fine dining. It's in that mid range because it's like, it would be like ranking it like, just get real quick. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if these chains are around anymore, but like if you still had Shoney's, that's like bottom tier. You know what I mean? Cece's
mm.
Pizza apparently is bottom tier. But if you had Applebee's, then you go TGI Fridays, then you go um like Carrabba's or Bonefish Grill or something like that. Um
Oh, Red Lobster. We went to one
Red
of those
Lobster,
recently.
Yeah,
Is
Red
it
Lobster's up there. It's
about
above Red
about this
Lobster. It's
above
above Red Lobster.
Ooh, that's
I would say
fancy.
nah, it's a little bit. It's a step above Red Lobster. It's not a huge step, but
Okay.
like it. I would put it. They have tablecloths, so like a little bit above.
I see. I see.
You know what I mean? Like it's a chain. It's still a chain. The menu is still very much like regulated and like um uh predictable, but it's pretty good stuff.
Okay. All right. So what nappy headed hoe is out here saying that she doesn't want to go there on the first date, right?
A
Like
liar.
that. I mean, like, of course
Sure,
that
it's a
that
liar.
has to be a lie, has to be bait, right? But like, there's a lot of bitches in the comments saying, "Oh, me too, girl. If he brought me to this place, I would just the Sahara Desert between my legs, right then and there." Like,
Uh-oh. CAP.
but for real
I
though,
mean, no, that's cap. It's all cap. Like, so there's two possibilities. Both of them are liars, but like one is a lie to where there is a sort of, I guess this is a class dynamic. There's a class of people, men and women, who date people who have money. So if you're the type
Mm.
of person who's only dating celebrities, professional athletes, rich people, or whatever, then I could see a hypothetical scenario where a new date taking you to Cheesecake Factory is a little bit gauche, a little bit lacking in style or taste, because you're used to going to more exclusive places. That is the ultimate minority. That is a minority of a minority. If it registers as a fraction of a percent, I'm surprised. Most of these people are lying because they want to present the image of being that type of person. They want you to think they're so fancy and high class, but like statistically, mathematically, all you motherfuckers can't be in the comments saying, I wouldn't, y'all, because y'all couldn't fit in the nice restaurants. Y'all are on the guest list. All of y'all not getting taken to the really nice exclusive place by Drake or by Serena Williams or whoever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all not getting taken to these places. It's just the numbers, the math don't match. So it's cap. It's lies. It's cap.
I do cap. Yeah, okay. In the case of cap, I can see it. I can see it.
It's the same thing as how a minute ago, and a lot of women were on the internet saying men got to have the 6 rule where it's like 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches or whatever, and it's like all y'all are lying because there's men who don't have that and they're getting laid. Like it was just,
Absolutely
it was a lie. So it's the
no.
same lie.
Come on, come on. No, this is
Come on.
come on. I mean, I guess gender wars are profitable.
Yes,
They
this was the thing I didn't like because it's like, on the one hand, like, yeah, it was a dumb baity video, but on the other hand, the people who tried to have a conversation about it can't because you get swept up with like the red pill like losers. You get swept up with like misogynists who were angry at the woman. Like a lot of the anger at her was from people who hate women. And it's like, nah, you don't have to hate women to be like she capping. Like that, but you
Yeah.
couldn't have that
Dumb.
conversation. That's what I'm
Dumb.
saying. I hate the gender war. You can't even
Absolutely.
we can talk about this now for us because we know what we're talking about here, like as familiar people, but I
Absolutely.
would not have this conversation with the comment section. Hi, comment section. I will not be answering any of your questions. I will not be reading your comments.
Oh man.
But
Oh
yeah,
man, it's messed
yeah,
up.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like it it's the facade, and it's also like, why are so many people? We haven't been in America, so my take on this is, why do Americans hate each other so much? Why are the straights so angry at each other so much? We're not okay out here. It's
They're
bad.
not. I mean, part of it is just not getting laid, and so not really interacting with one another in either a friendly or intimate manner. I think that has a lot to do with it. And
So if she just ate the Cheesecake Factory, she could have got laid and solved this
she could
problem,
have.
dog. Like,
It,
I
it
don't
would
know,
have. It would
man.
not have been a problem afterward. You know, like
She played herself.
I want to go to Cheesecake Factory now. Like, come, like, I feel a little cheated. Like, I would like to
It's
to
not
go to one.
it's not going to be as good as your local spot where like grandma's been making this since the 70s, the 60s, and it just good. But it's going to be good. You're going to have a decent meal and go, I get it. It's going to be a little pricey, but like it'll be worth it. Like you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I ordered, appetizers. I had a main dish that would I was satisfied with the portions. The cheesecake is their specialty. The cheesecake is pretty generally well regarded. Again, it's not homemade original where I can like put, LSD in the ingredients and tell you it was really good, but it's pretty good. It's solid. It's solid. Anybody who says they wouldn't eat at Cheesecake Factory is either in the 1%, so like they can actually back that up with their receipts, or they're lying. and do the math. Most of y'all are not the 1%. Stop capping. Shit.
I mean, but for real though, if any of y'all trying to take me to Cheesecake Factory, I would go.
I'm
though.
saying, fam, go.
Okay.
I've been enough times. I'd go. But I'm saying I'd go. We should make content of you going, and then we can review. We can review it, and you can tell us about it as a new person, and I can say, "Dang, Cheesecake Factory fell off since I was a kid." I don't know.
I just started like I'm just kind of excited about tablecloths, man. Like, I just feel like it would just be like fancy.
Man, let me tell you something. You don't need a tablecloth to end up in a fancy spot. Man, I just ate out at this crazy good shabu shabu spot not too long ago. Man, I
Word?
was out. Yeah, we were out. I was out in town and I was looking for somewhere to eat. And the place I wanted to go to, I couldn't get in because I didn't have a reservation and it was crowded. So that's fine. So I was like, let me Google, I don't know, what's up, shabu shabu. I haven't had it in a minute. And I was like, oh, this place has good reviews. Let me just go see what's up. And when I got in there, the place was okay, but it wasn't like, it didn't scream white tablecloth, butler, fancy shabu shabu, but it was empty. And I was like, it looks pretty good. That's pretty good. And then I got the menu and saw the prices, and I realized, oh, this is Wagyu beef shabu shabu. Oh no, they got like Kobe and like 3 other regions of Wagyu beef. Oh, in their shabu shabu. Oh no.
Oh damn.
And but like when you sat in the booths, it was like wooden booths with a wooden table. You know what I mean? Like the kind of place you'd go at like a regular izakaya. The atmosphere was just alright, but the food was crazy. That was one of the rare times in my life where I can say, yeah, the food melted in my mouth. That shabu shabu beef, just, oh man, best shit ever. So, like, I would put that shabu shabu place above Cheesecake Factory, obviously, but like, it didn't have white tablecloths. That was the moral of the story.
Okay. Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
So I'm just saying, if anybody's trying to take us to really good shabu shabu, you can do that,
bruh. Hit me up though.
Yeah. Also, I will not be explaining what shabu shabu is to the internet. If you're in the comment section asking what that is, go look it up. Educate yourself. It's great.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
That's dope. All right, that's good.